The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get.
He missed the complete. That is crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield for 4. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Welcome, folks, back here at Talladega for season number 2, round number 4 in the iSuperSpeedway series. Please check them out at iSuperSpeedway.com. I am Richard Losper, and joining with me this evening is Sean Ambrose and Evan Pasocco. Our director tonight, of course, is Kevin Brown. Well, last Friday night, Frank Bucciala took his first win of the season during round 3 of the iSuperSpeedway.com Series Championship, and he was followed by Rodney Wofford and Tanner Mann. So that was last week. This, of course, is Talladega. That was Daytona. Let's talk a little bit about this Talladega track, Evan.
Yeah, that's right. We're back under the Lincoln, Alabama sun here, the Talladega Superspeedway, a capacity crowd of 80,000 folks on hand here. This speedway owned and operated by International Speedway Corporation. This track, guys, broke ground way back in 1968, opened a year later in 1969 for a construction cost of $4 million US. But let's talk the track that we've come and known to love. The surface, an asphalt surface at 2.666 miles in length. Turns have 4 of them. Turns 1 and 2 going to be ranked, guys, 33 degrees. And if you want to get real technical, turn 3 at 32.4, turn 4 at 32.5. Those guys aren't going to feel that difference at all at 200 plus miles an hour. The tri-oval, almost a turn in and out of itself, 16.5 degrees of banking there, and 3 down the back straightaway. The weather for tonight looks partly cloudy. 82 degrees Fahrenheit on hand, a little bit of a wind to the southwest at 2 miles an hour, and relative humidity at 65%.
Yeah, a little bit warmer than normal, so times are likely to be slightly slower. Normally they would qualify in around the low 50 mark, but we should see 50.1s, 50.2s perhaps tonight. Well, folks, if you want to follow us on Facebook, you can do so at facebook.com Global Sim Racing Channel. And we are also on Twitter at GSR Channel. So if you've got any questions or comments about the broadcast, feel free to stay in touch with us in the world of the Global Sim Racing Channel. You know where to find us. Guys, let's talk a little bit about the standings now. So at the moment, we have Rod Flagg, who, along with his team, runs this league at the top of the leaderboard. That's good to see, no doubt, for Rod. In second place, Joshua Hanna. Third place, Frank Bucciala, who took his first win last week in this particular series, in this season. And in fourth place, Brandon Chaburko. Fifth place, Donnie Garitano. And sixth place, Rodney Wofford. Seventh place, Greg Hooks. Eighth place, Shane McKeechan. Ninth place, Josh Ball. And in 10th place, Tanner Mann. And then there's a whole bunch of other guys hot on their heels at the moment. So this race and every race, I guess, after this one do count so much for the championship. And these guys are battling it out. And I must say, Sean, they're a great group of guys, these races. They're very fast. They know how to handle a Gen 6 car around a super speedway. So tell us a little bit about some of the things you've been following on, Sean.
Hey, thanks, Richard. Well, hey, here we are in Talladega, Alabama. Last week was in Daytona, back on July 18th. And you know what? The champ was back Friday night as Frank Bucciala took his first win of the season during round 3 of the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series Championship. 21 cars qualified in Friday's race, with Josh Hanna starting on the pole via his 5th career Dash 4 cash win. The first 26 laps would go caution-free until an accident involving Chris Jennings and Hunter Bowles would bring out the first caution of the evening. The race would restart on lap 32 and go back to a caution lap later following a crash involving Shane McKeechan and Donnie Garitano. And then that set up a restart with 4 laps to go with Josh Ball in the lead. And on lap 39, Josh Ball and Darn Artman would make contact while 3 wide, which would bring out the caution at the end of the race with Frank Buccioli in the lead. And that was Frank's second career A-Main win. And it was a great race for him. And then Rodney Warford would work his way from 20th position to second. And Tanner Mann turned around his terrible start to the season by rounding out on the podium on 3rd place.
Well, guys, it looks like the pace car has taken to the track, and they all lining up behind the pace car. So, Evan, why don't we start going through the board as they stand in qualifying right now?
Yeah, on the pole position is going to be the driver of that number 2 Chevrolet, Donnie Giratano, starting on the front row. Alongside him, 28 of Shane McKeechan. In the number 2 spot, Dana Osborne sitting in 3rd right now. Frank Bucilia looking to make it back-to-back trips to victory lane. Will start from the 4th spot. Ron Thompson going to be sitting 5th on the inside of row number 3, alongside the number 3 of Brandon Chaburko. Don Artman going to roll the 99 off in 7th. 8th position to 96 of Chad Keene. Tommy Hall in 9th, and Rod Flagg going to round out the top 10.
Great stuff. Sean?
Yeah, and in 11th, we got Rodney Wofford in the number 7. Josh Hanner, who's been fast at all these tracks, in 12th. 13th, Brandon Kettle. In 14th, Chris Jennings. In 15th, Mark Jorgensen Jr. In 16th, Ramon Evans. In 17th, Dan Harrington. In 18th, Brock Hopkins. In 19th, Jared Haggerty. In 20th, TJ Smith. 21st, Larry Camp. And rounding out the field in 22nd place, Mark Brown.
Well, guys, the pace car is on the back stretch, coming up to turn number 3. We will be having a start here momentarily. Donnie Giratano in charge of this race on the start. Shane McKeechan right next to him on the outside. Dana Osborne, as Evan said, in the number 8 machine on the 3rd position with Frank Bucilia. And we have to apologize to Frank, guys. We now know what his true pronunciation of his last name is. It is Frank Bucilia. So let's try and do the right thing by Frank and give his name the respect that it deserves. Frank Bucilia it is. In 5th and 6th place, Brandon Chaburko and Ron Thompson. So getting ready for a start right now. The pace car has cleared turn number 4, approaching the pit entry. It will duck off very, very soon. Donnie Giratano will choose when to get this race started. Will he go on green, or the moment the pace car goes off, looks like he's holding the field back. He's going to go on the green at this point in time, still just pacing, getting ready for a start right now. Any second we will get the green, and there goes the green, and we're away in this race number 4 of this series. Donnie Giratano leads them away. Shane McKeechan still on the outside. 2 lines forming immediately, Evan, and the race is away.
Yeah, a lot of bumper-to-bumper contact down through corners number 1 and 2. Looks like the 8 of Dana Osborne going to try to create our first 2-car tandem. He's on the inside, up on the back bumper of pole sitter Donnie Giratano, and they were able to push a little bit. They put a car length on the rest of that bottom lane down the back straightaway, but Shane McKeechan on the outside, he has helped the 94 of Frank Bucilia, trying to help him out. That's a Toyota and a Ford. Those 2 cars working the high side, but through 3 and 4, still Donnie Giratano out front.
And it looks like they're all bunched up. A nice, clean start there, Sean. Did you see anything happening towards the rear?
No, not really. Everybody got in line, and so far so good. A little bit of contact back there when we first got started, but a few of these cars are starting to lose that lead pack, and they need to stay a little bit closer because, as we talked about in our pre-race, this new build may affect how you draft just a little bit. You may want to stay a little bit closer than you usually do to stay with this draft.
Well, that's correct, and we should make mention, Evan, of the fact that this is the first week all these drivers are driving with the brand new iRacing build. There have been some changes to the tire model specifically, and in some cases, particularly the faster cars, there have been some changes as well to the physics.
Yeah, that new build came out on Tuesday, and more affecting, cars if you're talking the oval-wise as far as the 1.5-mile speedways. But here at Talladega, no major changes as we have a little bit of 3-wide going on up at the front. One car happy to check up, that's the 44 of Ron Thompson. But yeah, that new build came out just on Tuesday, and again, tires were that primary focus. Not a lot of changes being done to the Super Speedway package, maybe just a little bit more of a sensitive draft package, meaning you can't really hang off that bumper as much as you could before. You really got to stay tucked up or you can drop off real fast.
That's correct, and we're on board a moment ago with Dana Osborne, and Dana Osborne in the third position as we see the lines forming again. We seem to see Sean on the outside, just 2 cars, and they've maintained that position on the outside as we see that 44 car trying to get in the mix there, and other guys catching up on the outside line now. The 81 machine is there, as well as the number 4 machine by the looks of it, or is that the 44? And these guys are now forming two true lines of racing, and we'll see what happens. The 44 seems to me to be a bit loose there, Evan.
Yeah, that's Ron Thompson, and that's where that 3-wide was down that front straightaway about a lap or 2 ago. We are 3-wide, a little bit more back in the pack. The 3 car of Brandon Chaburko left out to dry with no help. Looks like the 4 car, Tommy Hall wants to jump out and help him. He's going to dive back in line. The 4 car trying to decide what line he is going to take. That's the Tommy Hall machine. Now Chaburko is going to actually get some help. One car's going to step out with him, but side by side, for what's going to be the number 1 position, Donnie Giratano had it at the start finish line at 28 though.
Oh, we have trouble, guys. We've got trouble back here.
Yes, and that's the number 4 car that we're looking at right there. Get a replay of that. It looks like the number 4 car. Let's see. That is Tommy Hall. He looks pretty damaged right now, Evan.
And I was saying, and he was all over the racetrack there, down that front straightaway, popping in and out of line. And the 81 car looks like he went to make it 3-wide on the bottom. The 4 car continued to drive corners 1 and 2 like the only car down there was the 78 of Brock Hopkins. So the car cuts down on the 81, and evidently the only car going to get major damage is that 4. I know the 83, and looks like the 5 car is also going to get damaged. That's a tough break for Josh Hanner, as Hanner sitting pretty nice in the point standings. Actually tied with Rod Flegg at the top, only driver in the top 4 to not get a win. So tough break for that 5 team.
Yeah, and Tommy Hall went for quite a ride there. That's how that 83 and that 5 car got damaged. He was doing a barrel roll down the back of the track there, and yeah, unfortunately those 2 cars have been affected, but they get a quick fix. They get 2 of them in this series, and now it's going to be a good time to get it.
All right, and we are experiencing a few technical difficulties at this point in time with YouTube. We'll get our pictures back as soon as we can. Meanwhile, we can tell you that we have a caution, so it might be an appropriate moment to take a quick break while we try and sort out those technical difficulties. Welcome back, folks, to the iSuperSpeedway.com Super Speedway Series round number 4. We have overcome our technical difficulties. Thank you, Director. And we are back live where we see the pace car is on the pace car is on the final lap. The lights are out, and we will be getting a start when they come to the start finish the next time around. So currently in charge of this race right now, Evan, is Donny Garetano. Just tell us a little bit more about what happened just before we had those technical difficulties.
Yeah, we saw a caution fly for the 4 car of Tommy Hall, and was trying to make his mind up about what line he was going to be taking down that front straightaway, and evidently cut down on what became a 3-wide battle. And I don't really think that he knew that there were 2 cars inside of him, because he kind of just went in there to 1 and 2 like there was only one more car on his left-hand side, and that has caused the caution. He's back out on track using that quick fix. However, he is 2 laps down. Other than that, all 21 other drivers on the lead lap.
Yeah, and that's to see, as we said, Donny Garetano in charge of the race right now. On his outside, we have the number 8 machine of Dana Osborne. That's your front row. In the second row, Chad Keane has moved up in the 96 car into 3rd position, and Dawn Artman in the 99 car is in 4th position. They're coming to the start, to the pit entry, and we should see the pace car ducking off pretty soon. Guys are gearing up to get the start happening, and the pace car goes off. Donny Garetano in the number 2 machine, now leading the field, in control of the race. He's obviously going to go on green on his outside. Dana Osborne coming right down so he can take advantage of that side draft. The light goes green, and they're away for the first restart in this race, and we are on lap number 9. Evan?
He made a big checkup in the back. Jared Haggerty in the 57 had been called for a checkup. A couple of those guys got stacked up, but everybody keeps it pointed the right direction. Nothing more than a little bit of fender damage for those guys in the back. It is the 2 of Giratano who is leading right now down the back straightaway. The 8 of Dana Osborne, who started second, actually had a nose over that 2 car at the start-finish line there, but right now down the back, the 96 of Chad Keane, who you mentioned moving up to 3rd, is pushing that 2 of Giratano. Those 2 cars sitting 1st and 2nd through 3 and 4.
Correct, and on their outside we have the 8 and the 99 machine, although we see the 7 slotting in the inside line to follow up on the 99, and 2 lanes forming up now, Sean, and we are back racing, standard 2 wide racing at the Super Speedway Talladega. I love this thing.
Yeah, Richard, so far, you know, we're on a pretty good restart here. We've got 5-6 cars that have fallen back and running kind of by themselves here. They've separated from the lead pack, but right now it looks like they're maybe making up a little bit of ground as long as they can stay in line with each other. Someone ducked out there, tried to make a move to the top there, the 088 of Chris Jennings, but didn't work for him. So he settled in behind the 80 of Brandon Kettle, and right now, you know, I don't know, it's anybody's race, I think, at this point.
Yeah, strange move from the 28 machine there, moving to the outside. Maybe a good move as he goes level now with the 82 machine. And these guys are now making moves 3 wide at the front there, Evan.
Yeah, they're going to try to squeeze through the 8 machine. The first car to do it, that's Dana Osborne. Now it goes to 2 wide as the lone car up top, the 96 of Chad Keane, drops all the way back, guys, to outside of the top 15 on the outside in just about 3 seconds. The 2 of Giratano continues to lead, but we are 2 wide, bumper to bumper through the pack.
Yeah, and I've got the camera on the 44 machine of 44 is Ron Thompson, who looks to me to be a little loose as we saw in the first stint, and he has me a little bit worried as we saw a little bit of action there, Sean, up near the front as well, where the 2 cars came together, touched briefly, but no harm done there. The 44 now closes up on the back of the 28. It just does not seem to me, and I may be wrong, and I hope I am not besmirching his character, but he seems to me to be a bit loose and struggling to hold that line there, Evan.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff going on too. And again, tonight's race is 47 laps. Also interesting enough to note. That's a little bit more, but I mean, you're in the pack, and we saw when they went 3 wide. Things can happen so quickly. This is really a rhythm style of racing. A little bit of chatter over the radio. The 85 car, or the 83, somebody is not making friends back there in the pack. But I mean, you go to this racetrack, you need to be in a rhythm. You need to be able to hit your line lap in and lap out. You have a checkup, you kind of get squirrely. So the way the air's hitting you and all that, it is pretty hard to stay tucked up.
Well,
Hey,
that
guys.
is true. Go ahead, Sean.
I was just going to say Dana Osborne is kind of making this outside line work with a little help from Frank Casilia, pushing hard. And as they come down out of the turn here, it looks like this could be a different race here real quick.
Well, guys, let's get the cameras on Brandon Tabergo in the number 3 car. He had some help, and we do have a lot of touching and bumping happening there. What happened there, Evan? I just missed the car that went out off screen there.
7 of Rodney Wofford is going to get kind of kicked out of line, and not sure what happened there. It looks like the 7 actually blew up the engine. Rodney Wofford blew that motor mid-pack in corners number 3 and 4. He was able to go low to the apron so that nobody else would pile into him, and in doing so, the 82 and the 44 made a little bit of contact, but everybody survives for the time being. A lot of aggressive driving. The 57 going to make it 3 wide in the back of the pack. And there they go. The 83 is going to get turned down the back straightaway. And a big wreck. 4 or 5 cars involved down the back straightaway. And I have to say that looked a little bit unnecessary for 16th place.
Correct, and I see that we're getting a replay of that. The 99 machine there of Dawn Artman involved in that, and we have a problem once again. We are having technical difficulties, unfortunately, with our YouTube, but at this point in time we will just call the action for you. Dawn Artman now coming around. He will be pitting, no doubt. Up the front there we do have Dana Osborne quite cleanly away at the moment, and he's followed by Donny Garatano in the 2 car. Frank Basilia had moved himself way up into the 2nd position, really on the outside, and was looking to challenge for the lead, but then we had this caution come out. So at this point in time everything has slowed back down to 0, and we will take a short break once again whilst the caution works itself out, and come back and I do note we do have our pictures back again there, so don't know what's happening with YouTube at the moment, but certainly we are having some problems getting the broadcast to them, but things are slowed down now as the pace car is out there. So let's go to a break, and we'll come back live when we are close to racing once again. Welcome back to the iSuperSpeedway.com race number 4, where during the caution we have had action like you would not believe. Evan?
Yeah, what's going on here, guys? The 96 of Chad Keane pacing and catching up to the field He came over and said that he was having a little bit of trouble with his wheel, and then evidently that 96 turned dead right into the outside wall, came down, and the 7 machine of Rodney Wofford, an innocent bystander in that, is going to get the front end of his number 7 Chevrolet torn up. So 2 cars picking up a little bit of damage here under the caution flag, and the excitement never ends here.
Well, we should probably mention, Sean, that this is simulated racing, so we are dependent on 2 major factors to make it all happen. That is a computer that works properly, and of course an internet connection that works properly. If either one of those 2 things do not work properly, you will have problems, as we saw with the 96 saying that his wheel went crazy, and he unfortunately took out Rodney Wofford in the process of trying to get back as he goes into the pits right now. But getting back to the front, this is caution number 3, was it? And Dana Osborne is in control of the race right now. Donny Garantano is or will be on his outside on the restart. Frank Basilia and Shane McKeechan will make up the second row. So plenty of driving and plenty of action to happen still. We are only on lap 17, Evan, of 47 laps, so lots of racing to go yet.
Yeah, a couple of guys going to come out of pit road. The 7 Rodney Wofford, the 96 car also of Chad Keane coming out, maybe just topping off on a little bit of fuel damage repair. It looks like those are the 2 cars that got into it there in 1 and 2 under the caution flag. But interesting enough to note, guys, all 22 cars that started tonight's race still on track, 20 of them on the lead lap. Larry Camp finds himself into number 33 MRN Chevrolet, down 1 lap in 21st, and Tommy Hall, the 4 car, sits 22nd. He is 2 laps down.
Well, Sean, let's talk a little bit about pit strategy. We've had a number of cautions right now, leading up to this point, and guys will have to pit at least once to make the 47 laps, I do believe. So what are the strategies going through their minds, do you think, right now, Sean?
Well, I think with the cautions that we've seen here early, they're probably thinking they're going to get another one really soon, and that might be the time to go in. There's a few cars that have pitted here and even pitted late on this caution, this extended caution right now, and it looks like, they may be in good shape with it being a 47-lap race. They could make it at this point and not have to stop back in for fuel. So there could be some position changes on another caution if it happens. Like I said, some of these guys are to the good, and some of these guys, especially our leaders and that pack up front who haven't pitted, are going to need to duck in at some point.
Yeah, interesting that they did not come in. Look, we are on lap 17. You can certainly get 30 laps on the field that they've got, I do believe. So strategy-wise, perhaps that was not the smartest thing, Evan, to stay out there.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a questionable thing. Again, you mentioned you can go somewhere in the range of 30 laps, and that time by the start-finish line, it is 30 laps to go in this race. So, again, we have seen two, 3 cautions here in these opening portions of tonight's event, so maybe they are counting on a couple more cautions fuel strategy-wise, but if this thing goes green, you could see some of those guys that had to come in either to get a quick repair or that just came in at the back of the field that had nothing to lose to came in and top off on fuel could be able to steal one of these, but that is something to keep note of moving forward.
Absolutely. And we should also let the viewers know that these drivers do have an opportunity to get a quick fix, which in iRacing terms means you basically exchange your damaged car for a brand new one, and you can do that twice during the course of that race. Sean, I think that's a good thing, particularly for iSuperSpeedway racing.
Yeah, agreed, Richard. It's as we've seen, the driving gets a little bit aggressive at points, and I think most of these guys are doing it for the fun of it, and I think the 2 quick fixes, for this series in particular, I think is a great deal because they offer a lot, and everybody's having fun, and they give out trophies and bonus awards, and so I think it's a cool thing.
Indeed. And, they say the cream always rises to the top. So right now, 2 of the really good drivers in this series and close to the lead of this championship as well is our friend Frank Basilia. He is currently in looks like on the outside there, sorry, he is in third position in the 94 car. And Brandon Jaberko is in fifth position. So these guys have the inside lane on this restart as we see the pace car getting ready to duck right into the pits. There it goes. And Dana Osborne now in control of the race. He holds them back, waiting for the green flag. And we will get that momentarily. And right now the green flag flies and away they go. And immediately Dana Osborne takes up on the inside. Brandon Jaberko and Frank Basilia immediately behind him. In fact, it's the other way around. Frank Basilia and Brandon. And on the outside, we have the 2 and the 28. And the 28 look pretty loose going through turn number 1 there, Evan.
Yeah, and they try to get things sorted out here. Looks like the 94 rather, Frank Busilia wants to go to the front. He's going to step out of line to the bottom. He goes to the top. He has help with the 2 of Giratano, who has help from the 28 of Shane McEachin. 3 cars on the outside trying to help Busilia in 3 and 4. The 94 with a little bit of a wiggle there, and here comes that 8 of Giratano once again. And look at that, guys. That's the 3 of Brandon Jaberko creeping up front.
Yep, and he is no mean pusher. Seen him push past me like I was standing still in a race that I was doing in the, dare I say, the Carburetor Cup in iRacing. And these guys have got the inside. He's got a really good partner in Dana Osborne, as well as we see Garetano duck now to the inside. The outside line not working as well for him. Or maybe he's thinking he should stick close to Brandon Jaberko. So Brandon Jaberko now goes to the outside, Sean. So all kinds of moves happening here as guys are vying for that first position. Bearing in mind, there are some points to be had for leading laps here.
Yes, there are. And hey, I'm watching here in the back here, Rodney Wofford making his way back up, patiently, kind of just creeping back up, following the draft, and moving back up from the field after having a little trouble there on that caution accident there. And he had to go in the pits, and now he's back up to 14th place.
Yep, and Frank Basilia has a peak on the outside, and on the number 3 on the outside as well. He is definitely trying to make moves. So Frank Basilia teamed up here with Brandon Jaberko as they go 2 wide down the back straight there with the 2 and the 3 car. Whoa, there's a touch between Garetano and Jaberko. Nothing happened there, but Jaberko did have to check up a little bit, Evan, so that loses him that second position there. Thank goodness we did not have another caution there.
Hey, that could have easily sent both of those cars headed hard into the outside wall. They hang on for now. It is the 3 now, going to make it 3 wide up front. They leave that 2 of Donnie Giratano left out to dry in that middle lane, the Earnhardt sucker hole through 1 and 2. So the 3 of Brandon Jaberko trying to get help at a 94 of Frank Busilia there on the outside down that back straightaway. The 8 car of Dana Osborne is leading. Now the 5 is going to go to the middle. Josh Hanner wants that number 1 spot.
And it looks to me like the 2 had an opportunity to duck to the inside, did not take the option. He's coming up onto the back of the 5. 3 wide now. We have 3, 6, 9, 10 cars in 3 lanes at the moment, in 3 rows of cars. This could get ugly, Sean.
Yes, it could, as the 44 right now has got the 80 all over his bumper. Brandon Kettle is all over the bumper of the 44. Little bit of distance between him right now, but the 44 still looks a little loose down on that low line, so need to watch out as they still go around this track 3 wide. The 94, Frank Busilia, trying to make it work up there right now as they come up beside the 3 of Brandon Jaberko and the 2 of Donnie Garetano.
And the 28 car pushing crazily, but then he approached, he got close to the wall there, so he had to back out of it. Will be freight trained a little bit while he tries to catch back up, but they were in a team. The 28 and the 94 were in a team trying to push to the front there right on the top side, and they did not get it done. And so now we have a new team building between by the way, I should say Josh Hanna has pushed his way to the front in the number 5 machine. Brandon Jaberko on his outside. This is coming to be really the sort of racing we are used to watching in this series, Evan.
Yeah, and that's good for Joshua Hanner. Again, he sits right now at the number 1 spot. He has help at 8 of Dana Osborne, but getting the 3 of Brandon Chiburko, always a very tough competitor, sits and he leads that outside lane. But guys, earlier in this race, the 5 of Josh Hanner had a couple of cars upside down on his roof. Right there, that 5 car got kind of beat up in a couple of incidents, but his Toyota looking pretty stout right now up front. Again, that 3 car that's leading the outside charge, Brandon Chiburko, nearly going to make it door-to-door now as they head through 1 and 2, lap 25 in the works at a 47 in tonight's affair. They have kind of taken a little bit of a break, per se. They're 2 wide throughout the field because, again, that 3 wide a couple laps ago was pretty crazy, but 2 abreast throughout the field down the back.
Yeah, and you know, guys, Sean, I'll come to you in a sec. It's really easy to run 2 wide on this track if you maintain the 2 lanes. But what I do notice is that the outside lane comes down as we see cars touching, and they get away with that. The 94 of Frank Basilia right in the middle of that. He touched the number 2 car at one point there.
Oh,
and now he gets into the number 2 and turns the number 2, the 7, the 44, whole bunches of cars all involved in this pretty ugly stuff there, Evan.
Oh, that's a mess there, and I was going to say 4 wide, but it's the 2 car that appears to be initiating that contact. That was Donnie Giratano, tried to come down in front of the 94 of Frank Busilia, and he spins off the nose of the 94 right in front of the 44. Again, you mentioned the 7, the 78, the 3, the 81, the 088, the 66, looks like he's in it as well. A big mess there down the front straightaway. All the incidents that we've seen tonight, excluding the first one that we saw, they're going to be taking out multiple cars. So tonight is one of those races where those quick fixes come in handy.
Yeah, they sure do. And you have to mention, of course, that if you've even got very slight damage on your car and you go into the pits, and this might be a reason why some of these cars did not go in, iRacing will grant you a quick fix, and even though you may not really have needed that quick fix, and that uses up one of your cars. So guys have to be wary. They may have slight damage on the front or rear, or even on the side panels. And if, Sean, if they go into the pits, correct me if I'm wrong, they will get a new car even though they don't want one.
That is correct. Yeah. And, you know, right now, the big question is who wasn't involved in that wreck? Your leaders, the front 3 or 4 cars, but I mean, that just took out everybody. And so several of those cars had already taken one quick fix. I don't know if anybody had gotten the 2 quick fixes yet, but yeah, this pit stop right here is going to be critical. I expect to see the leaders come in.
Yeah, and obviously, if they do pit now, whoever pits now will certainly have enough fuel to get to the end. Now, the question mark, Evan, is still out on these tires. This is the new tire model NTM version 5.X. We don't even know what version it is. So, do you think, you probably don't know, I certainly don't, that the tires may have an effect here on the super speedway? Normally they don't.
I don't think it's going to be, again, one of the major factors. Now, if we're talking, you know, with some of the shorter speedways, not this plate track racing, I think it can come into effect for sure. But again, you guys have been kind of pointing out that some of these guys kind of look a little bit unsettled there through the corner. So maybe a little bit of effect. But again, these guys with the experience that they have here on these super speedways, I don't really think that is going to be a major factor in tonight's race. Just interesting enough to note, guys, the 28 car of Shane McEachin came down pit road for 4 tires and fuel. His car didn't have damage, so I mean that's not the reason that he came down pit road. So that 28 car coming in for his final stop fuel-wise of the night. So just to compare that to our leaders who have still yet to do so.
Correct, and 20 laps go. Anybody who takes fuel now will certainly have enough time to get through. But while we're on a caution here, Sean, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the rules and bonuses that that happened in the series?
Yeah, well, you know what? Actually, first I want to talk about the I-5 bonus. Okay, this happens in every series race. The drivers eligible for tonight's race, okay, based on basically if an eligible driver wins an A main, they win a bonus of 5 iRacing dollars and a trophy. If there is no winner, the 5 rolls over to the next week. Now, how do they become eligible? The top 5 finishers from the previous week's race are eligible for the I-5 bonus. So we've got 5 guys racing for a $10 bonus this evening. Josh Hanner, Rodney Wofford, Tanner Mann, Ramon Evans, and Frank Basilia. Okay, so those guys have got a little bit at stake here tonight, and as we've seen, a few of those cars have had a little bit of trouble, so their chances might be, well, let's say not as good. Right now, the previous winners of that I-5 bonus have been Rod Flagg back on the 11th of July. Brandon Shabirko won the first 2 awards for the first race and the second race, and that first race netted him $15, and the second one netted him $5. So he's up $20, and that's a pretty good deal, Richard.
That's right, Sean. We're working under the yellow here, and lap 28 is currently in the works. I feel like this race has been a lot more aggressive than what we saw last week. Your thought on that?
Yeah, well, last week we saw a nice, green flag runs last week, and this week, let's say it's been not quite the same race. So, there's still a lot of good cars in this race. So I think we've got a chance to see a really good race here at the end. I'm hoping for a green flag to the finish here at this point. And let's get, we haven't seen a race finish under green yet. I'm hoping tonight's the night.
I was just thinking that when you were talking there, that I hope that we can go, what have we got, 19 laps, as they are working on, lap 28 right now. The pace car still out there. Let's have a look. Josh Hanna in charge of this race right now. Dana Osborne, who's managed to stay out of trouble, Evan, still up there near the front, and I'd have to say he's got a pretty good opportunity here to make something of this race. But I do hope these guys can take the opportunity and go that 19 laps to the end of this race without another caution.
Yeah, Dana Osborne, he entered tonight sitting in the number 12 spot, championship points-wise, 36 points back. So he has started all 3 races, but 36 points back is a pretty good gap. So that 8 team has not really been receiving the results that they had been looking for in tonight's affair. As far as that green flag finish-wise, this is Talladega. Again, we got to keep in mind, it's almost a whole lane wider than Daytona. So I think that could be what is attributing to the more aggressive style of racing, but that does give them more room to race. So, and again, also Daytona, that start-finish line in the middle of the tri-oval right here, the start-finish line in between that tri-oval and turns 1 and 2. So that could be another factor in it. So I think that these guys are going to have a pretty good shot at getting this thing green to that checkered flag. 17 cars are on the lead lap as they run right now. But if we do see a green flag finish, they're probably going to be 3-4 wide. There's a lot of room and a lot of drivers that will try to get that checkered flag.
Yes, sir. That is very well said. Got to say, Dana Osborne, and I'm really rooting for Dana tonight. He is the only car not in the top 10 up at the front at the moment. We've got Josh Hanna in charge of this race, and Josh Hanna is, where is Josh Hanna? He's in second place. And then we've got Brandon Chaberko up there as well. He's in 4th place in the championship. Rod Flagg, the organizer of this series, and they do a fantastic job with this series, I must say. He is right in the lead of the championship. So you got all the fast guys, the guys who've done very well in the series thus far, up near the front there. So Dana Osborne, the only one not in amongst that group right now, and I would love to see him do very well here tonight, Sean.
Yeah, hey, and Richard, we were looking, you led with Josh Hanner. If looking at his car, you'll see the orange number on top and the orange colored wheels. When we talked about the I-5 bonus a few minutes ago, that's a requirement for them to be eligible for this bonus.
Yeah, and that's right. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, if the driver qualifies for the bonus, they're required. to color their primary car and wheels that specific color of orange. And if they don't run the correct color, they're not eligible for the bonus. So it's pretty important to get that done.
Yeah. Well, if you've got orange wheels, that means you're in bonus territory. I like that. And it's been a feature of this series that they have all kinds of little bonuses, and there's also a dash for cash that they have in a lead-up race to the main race, where you can win $5, I believe, in iRacing credits. So they've got plenty to keep the drivers interested, because you go from Daytona to Talladega to Daytona to Talladega. The possibility is that unless you're a lover of super speedway racing, it could get a little boring. But I have to say, I have not yet seen a boring race. Yeah, sure, we do get some cautions and we get some crazy racing at times, Evan, but certainly not boring.
No, for sure, and they're keeping it entertaining, and the fact that they come to the same track every other week, obviously alternating Daytona and Talladega, means that every time they come back, they're going to want to try something new. They're going to continue to push those boundaries, push the limit of that race car to try to get out of it what they can. Now, Josh Hanner, he's going to be on the #1 position here for this next restart. Josh Hanner, the best finishing driver so far this season. Now, when I say that, this is race number 4. Only driver to finish in the top 5 all 3 weeks. And he is tied with Rod Flagg for that lead in the championship, but no wins. So that's the one thing that evades Josh Hanner. But right now, he currently sits and would make it 4 straight top 5s.
Correct, and he has battled for the lead on many occasions in the past races and in season 1 as well. Brandon Jaberko, as we see the pace car duck in, and Josh Hanner in charge, going to wait for the green flag to fly before he takes off. Right behind him, Brandon Jaberko now. Dana Osborne on the outside. He'll have to, he shoots away. He may get a black flag for crossing the line before the leader right there. I'm not sure if that's what they do, but that was not a good start right there.
No, it really wasn't, Richard. Yeah, I think someone jumped it. I don't know. I guess we'll see if there's a black flag here. We'll know here in just a lap or so. But unfortunately on that start, Ramon Evans disappeared, lost connection, and one of our contenders for the I-5 bonus is out of this race.
Well, that's no good. So now we see on the outside the line forming there with the 5 and the 85. And on the inside, we do have Dana Osborne still in the lead right now. Did he or will he get a black flag? We will know momentarily. He does not go into the pit, so maybe it's okay if you're on the outside line to overtake the leader. That would be a first, Evan.
Well, that's going to go 3 wide now. The 96 to the middle. They hang on to that for now as things get kind of sketchy here. The 28 of Shane McEachin in the middle of that first 3 wide battle. But if you go to a track again where the leader is the control car, and on this situation, Josh Hanner was as well. Typically at other tracks, the 8 of Dana Osborne gets checked at a line. I can't get a sentence in here. 3 wide here down the back. A lot of contact. The 3 now of Traberco, 4 wide. Through the corner, and they're gonna hang on to it for the time being. 4 wide, I don't know how long that's gonna work. Back in the pack at a 4, they're still pointed straight for now.
Well, I tell you what, it's getting pretty crazy right now. Sorry, Sean, did I cut you off there? Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying Garetano, who's falling back in the field, was in a really bad spot there when they were going 4 wide and really almost lost it.
4 wide again, the 99. We've got the 96 in there in the 3rd lane now, 28 on the outside. They form back up into 2 lanes. I'll tell you what, these guys do not mind getting next door to each other, Evan.
No, they're not afraid of that. And the point that I was trying to make is, as the leader, you really don't want to go on the pace car here. So when you go on the actual drive with the green flag, at that point, you can be passed by the car in second if you don't get on the gas right away. So race officials obviously deeming that the 8 of Dana Osborne went on the green, and once the green flies, it's fair game if you beat that leader to the stripe.
Yes, that is correct. I'd forgotten about that. These guys did go on green, so therefore he had every right to challenge the car next to him. He made a good move there, got away with it, but since then has fallen back and is currently now sitting in 4th place. He's on the outside of the machine of Frank Basilia as they push to try and take the lead. I do know, guys, that Frank Basilia has he's got a reputation for dumping here once he gets to the front. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him duck to the inside once he gets past Joshua Hanna's car there. Let's see what happens, Sean.
Yeah, let's see. You know, Brandon Chaberko, was up there with those leaders, and then all of a sudden it looked like he needed a little bit of air and got into some clean air. Oh, here we go, guys.
You got to touch with the second and third place. Frank Basilia gets away in front there, but the two cars right behind him, they did touch. So another caution will most certainly come out for this one.
That was dirt. That was a big mess. That was not pretty. Down that front straightaway. It looks like the first contact is going to be the 85 car, who decides to, I don't really think he wanted to step out of line, just the 5 of Josh Hanner made a little bit of an abrupt movement to the bottom, and that's TJ Smith in the 85, kind of moves up the racetrack, gets the 8 of Dana Osborne, and because that was up front, Josh Hanner's in it, the 23 car, that was at least half the field, another big one down that front straightaway, back under caution we go.
How about that save by Frank Buccialia, huh? Guys, I mean, that was incredible. He saved it and managed to, that car was out of shape there for just a brief little second. He managed to save it and stay in the lead of this race.
Well, what can I say? So we have another caution. We are on lap 35. That's the lap these guys are working right now. Soon to be lap 36 out of 47. So 11 laps to go. You take away 3 more or 4 more laps for the caution. That'll take us to around lap 39. So we're going to have ourselves a 6 or 7 lap shootout here, Evan.
Yeah, this thing's really coming down to it. There's not going to be a lot of time once they get back going here to sort this out. And I think it is that the fact that Talladega being that much wider than Daytona is prompting these drivers, almost antagonizing these guys to try to shoot for that gap. Now, in that necessary situation, I don't think that that's really what happened. As far as the driver trying to look to the inside, looked like the 85 just kind of slid up just a little bit. But again, they were so door to door, there was no room for error. So a couple guys not happy, Dana Osborne amongst them, that are not satisfied with what happened there most recently. But again, back under yellow, I was talking about Josh Hanner looking to make it 4 weeks in a row with top 5s. He's on pit road to pick up what may be his second quick fix of the night. So he'll get back on the lead lap, but he'll be starting around 15th spot. So Josh Hanner and that top 5 streak is going to be in a little bit of deep water here. But Bucilia still leads. Could he make it back to back?
Well, it will be interesting to see as we saw a whole bunch of cars coming into the pits then to get some repairs. Out on track, the pace car is still circulating. Frank Basilia now finds himself once again in charge of this race. Not a lot of laps left to go. Sean, I don't like the chances once again of finishing under green here.
I had so hoped we would. I think there's still a chance, and I'm going to hold out a little bit of hope.
Hang on, hope.
Yes, exactly. You know, Frank's in a really good spot right now. He was really fortunate on that last incident. So, you know, I don't know. I like we've seen him up front. He runs really well up there. Don't know about his partner in TJ Smith. I don't know if TJ's got enough to help him out, but I guess we're going to find out here pretty quick. But that blue oval, number 94, it's pretty strong. I look forward to maybe be at the front here at the end.
Well, TJ Smith is no slouch behind the wheel of one of these Generation 6 cars. He is in that Chevy SS and he knows how to move it around. He got away with that. He and Frank both got away with what happened behind them because the action was right behind them. In fact, it was amongst them and they managed to get away with it. So they will be breathing a sigh of relief right now.
Yeah, and you know who else was really fortunate? I was watching a replay back and forth a little bit. Brandon Kettle in the number 80. The 5 went spinning all around him. Josh Hanner's car tumbled all the way around the front of his nose and around the car and around the back, and there was no damage. So a very fortunate recipient there as he now sits in 3rd place as we get ready to restart this race here in a few.
Yeah, you know, that can happen sometimes. You can have all kinds of carnage happening around you. and magically, miraculously, you just hold a line and you will get through. Other times, you think, oh, I'm through that, and then some crazy guy comes from behind or from the side and just punts you right off. So there is a lot of luck involved as well in super speedway racing, Evan.
Yeah, and a lot of drivers, and if you go on a typical schedule where you head to these speedways maybe 4 times out of the season, you know that this is always the race, the wild card race, where you don't know who's going to be able to walk away with the win because you really have limited control over your destiny here. We can see guys and they can ride a perfect race. They'll be in line, they'll hold their line, they'll be on the back bumper, and they'll be in a position to win. And something completely out of their control is going to come down, get into them, like a couple of cars that we saw get collected in that they really weren't an instigator in it all. They get the worst end of it, and the cars that have started that incident walk away with a clean slate without any damage at all. So there's just so many factors in this super speedway racing, which really takes a lot of that control out of your hands, and sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah,
Boy.
yeah, certainly luck is a factor in these super speedway races. But right now we have Frank Busilia, the third, in charge of this race with a slightly damaged car by the looks of things. Rod Flag, we haven't spoken about Rod Flag in the 23 machine, Sean. He has managed somehow to stay out of trouble as well, and he is now in second place. So he will go to the outside on the one to go lap, as we see that possibly happening when they get to the start finish right now. Working on lap 37. A few names that we don't normally see up near the front. Brandon Kittel, a good race from him, managing to stay out of trouble, and now he finds himself in the third place behind Frank Busilia. Mark Jorgensen up there as well now in the 81 machine. Dawn Artman in the 99 machine, who has been in trouble here a few times in this particular race, but has managed to survive, has a car that looks good at this point in time. Donny Garantano back there as well. He was for all money right out of the race near the beginning of it, but he's back.
Yes, he is, and could be a contender here at the end because we know Donnie's fast. So, he's done real well to get his car where it's at in sixth place right now. Behind him in seventh is Chad Keene. In eighth, Mark Brown. Ninth, Dan Harrington, and in 10th, Shane McEachin. And we've seen Shane be fast, but not be a real good recipient of any luck. And right now, Shane started this race on the outside pole, and has managed to stay in the top 10. So he could still be a factor in this race.
Yeah, and I will be watching Brandon Chaburko as well. He needs to find a good partner. We know that Brandon Chaburko can push like there's no tomorrow in these races. As we see him go to the outside right now, he'll be restarting in 11th position, so that puts him on the inside of this restart. He could get boxed in a little bit. He might have to go to the outside to find a partner, but he's not out of it at all as well, as we see. I'll go to Frank Busilia now. The lights are still on the pace car, so at least it looks like another lap before we get a restart, and by that time they will be on lap number 39, Evan. So 47, 39, that's 8 laps of racing to go in this race. I just want to comment from you guys, this 4 wide, 3 wide business, I think that is what's it may be interesting to watch, but certainly it is what's causing most of the problems.
And even when we see these guys 2 wide, again, they're still so bumper to bumper that, again, we've seen guys step at a line, maybe down the back straightaway, make it 3 wide on the high side. They're not going into the corner wanting to go 4 wide. Now, that might be a different story when we're on that white flag or coming to one to go. But what happens there is you have these guys pushing, and you can't stay on the back bumper the whole time. So you guys, they're not on the gas. You're not all the way down on that throttle all the way around this joint. You're letting off, you're feathering the gas. You can have a little bit of a gap between the guys in front of you if you're in line. So that's what causes all these checkups. Somebody gets a big run, there's nowhere to go. Everybody scatters, and they go 4 wide because they're trying to avoid, what's going on in front of them. So it does appear that the lights have gone off on that pace car. So we're going to go back green flag racing. Frank Busilla is going to lead us there for an 8-lap shootout that still does leave a window for if we see a quick caution for one more restart.
Yes, that's correct. There is a window. If they can manage to get 4 or 5 laps and then have a caution, then that will be the end of the race. But right now, we're not going to think about that. We're not going to talk about that. We are going to concentrate on our 2 leaders. On the inside, we have the 94 machine of Frank Basilia. And on his outside, Rod Flagg, who is leading this championship. Bear that in mind. Behind them, we have Brandon Kettle and Mark Jorgensen. And then Donny Garatano in the 2 machine that we do want to watch as well. But right now, we are getting ready for a restart. The pace car is coming around turn number 4 as we speak. It will duck off into the pits in a second or 2. And then Frank Basilia, what will he do? As we see Rod Flagg closing up on the outside, the 81 coming up behind him on the outside line. The 80 car of Brandon Kettle, the pace car goes off. Frank Basilia holds them back. The 23 car comes up alongside of him, followed closely by the 81 and the 80 close behind Frank Basilia as well. The green flag flies now, and straight away there's a touch. Frank Basilia got a little sideways and manages to get away with that. We didn't get a good restart from Rod Flagg, and he falls back straight away and
all around.
As we see what's happening right now, there's cars all over the place, cars around, and we have another caution straight away.
And that's all going to attribute to what you said there. The 23 of Rod Flagg caught sleeping on that restart. It looks like he almost may have missed a shift because they started to get up to speed. The 23 was there, and it looks, I got to think that Rod Flagg must have missed a shift because he just did not get up to speed with everybody else. We had to go 3 wide, 4 wide, and it is the first car to make contact, the 82 of Dan Harrington, as he gets knocked down to the apron by the 5, and as he tries to merge back up, he drives into the 28, and then the 28 of Shane McKeechan comes back up the racetrack and makes hard contact into a couple of those cars out there. I know the 5 of Josh Hanner once again involved, the 8 of Dana Osborne. Some of our picks here, the 85s also in it. Some of the fastest cars in tonight's race get caught up in that one also.
Yeah, and that McKeechan, the McKeechan car suffered a lot of damage. He's in bad shape right now as he's still making his way around trying to get into the pit. But, so much for him being a contender at this point. I think we could say safely the night might be over for Shane McKeechan.
Yeah, it's unfortunate the way things have panned out here. But just a comment on Rod Flagg. Not quite sure what happened there. He seemed to get started, so presumably he was in second gear. It would be a pretty rookie move if he was not in second gear, although it can happen on a restart that you forget to change down if you've been cruising around in third gear. But I'm pretty sure he was in second gear, and I think, Evan, you hit the nail on the head there. He missed that shift into third. That slowed up that whole line and really was the cause of all that drama.
Yeah, and I'm trying to ride on board with him and see if I can hear a little bit of a delayed shift, and I don't really hear anything that would lead to believe that. But at first glance and from looking outside, it looks like it's very clearly that something prevented him from getting up to speed there. Because again, right when we took the green, he was side by side with our race leader, and about 3 seconds later, the car just stalled out. It wouldn't go anywhere. He was still on the gas. He was still gaining speed. But it does appear that maybe he was a little late on a shift or missed a shift. Some sort of problem there caused his machine to be slow, and that leaves us right now with only 13, and now scoring's going to update, only 11 cars on the lead lap. A lot of torn up sheet metal and a lot of cars coming down there for pit road. Josh Hanner riding that 3-race top 5 streak, the most consistent driver so far this season, currently being shown off the racetrack, taking a tow back to pit road.
Yeah, and Rod Flagg did momentarily come into the pits. He's back out there again right now and circulating, catching up to the pack as he does so now. But Frank Basilia, or Basilia, let me get it right. Somehow, with a damaged car, Sean, is still leading this race, and with a bit of luck, fingers crossed, and the commentator's curse put to one side, he may win this thing. Behind him, we have the 80 car of Brandon Kettle, who will have to go to the outside. So he'll lose that partner. Behind him will slot in the 99 car of Dawn Artman, who's been in the wars here several times tonight, but finds himself, or is it herself, who knows, at the front of the pack right now. And Chad Keane, a couple of guys that must be thinking to themselves, gee, if I can hold it together for a few more laps, I'm gonna come away with a good position in this race. So all up for grabs. The more fancy drivers like Brandon Chaburko, a little way back in 7th place. Not a lot of laps to go. We are on lap number 42 of 47. They have at least 2 more laps to go before a restart will occur. So I don't know, Evan. I think it's just going to be, as your spotter says sometimes, go like hell. And that's what they're going to do. And I fear it might end in tears for a lot of these guys.
Well, a lot of guys, to go along with the bent sheet metal, have a lot of bent feelings at this point in the race. Again, a lot of drivers showing a little bit of frustration. Again, you got guys like, again, the 5 of Josh Hanner, who we've been talking about, the 8 of Dana Osborne also there. Guys that had no part of causing any of these incidents, have run up front, have led laps in tonight's race, and are really looking, both those cars, the 8 and the 5, are looking to pick up their first win on season number 2. And they get caught up in 2 wrecks here, almost back-to-back. That end up taking them essentially out of competition, and that's got to be frustrating. So we've seen aggressive racing. I don't think you're going to see anybody take their foot off that throttle here on this ensuing restart, and I almost think it's not really a race to the checkered flag, it's a race to the next caution, because with the room that they have on this racetrack, it's going to get pretty crazy here with what's going to be maybe like a 4-lap shootout or so.
Hey, you know, guys, Brandon Kettle, who's sitting in 2nd place, okay, I did a little bit of research here real quick on the fly. In the Integra roof tile Chevrolet here, number 80, Brandon Kettle, this is his first race this season. So, I don't know, what does this guy got? I haven't seen him previously, so I'm not familiar with him. So is he going to help Frank, or is he going to, charge hard to the end and win at any cost? I guess time will tell.
I tell you what he's got, guys, as we see him weaving around, not the cleverest thing to do. Maybe that helps now with the new time model. I don't know, as we see a few others now taking his lead and doing the same thing. But I tell you what, Brandon Kettle has got. He has got incredible luck. He finds himself in 2nd place. I would have to say, due to the mistakes of others, rather than his own efforts, although I don't want to play down his efforts. If you are in 2nd place in a race with the standard of drivers that race in this series, you are doing a fantastic job. And on lap 43 now, we'll cross the line and go into lap number 44. I believe the lights are still on, so there'll be another pace lap to take us to lap 45, and then possibly 2 to 3 laps of racing. Everybody, Evan, you said it, everybody's going to have their foot firmly down to the floorboards, and they're not going to lift for anything. And I'm going to be watching Brandon Chaburko, because when the chips are down, this guy can pull out some incredible stuff. So I want to be watching him on that restart, but I don't fancy that they will get to the line without another caution. So whoever's leading now wants to be leading all the way, and that person right now is Frank Basilia, and good luck to him if he gets away with this one.
Yeah, guys, I did a little bit of research on the driver of that 80, Brandon Cattell, who started 13th. He sits 2nd right now, and from the information that I have received, and I was tipped off to this by just to the right side of his number 80, that decal there on the side of his car. You see the Peak logo, the Peak Motor Oil logo, and then you also have a JDR Graphics who made that paint scheme for him on the quarter panel. So for what I've been able to figure out, Brandon Cattell drives the number 80 car actually in the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series.
Well, fantastic job being done by him. He now moves to the outside. The lights are out on the pace car, so we will have 45 46, 47. Count that, folks. That's 3 laps to the end of this race. As we see the pace car now coming around that, is that turn number 4? I believe it is. And everybody getting ready to restart here. Brandon Kettel on the outside of Frank Busilia, who is our race winner from last week. So this is going to be one heck of a restart. I'm going to go back a little ways so I can watch the action from a little ways back. Dawn Artman in the 99 car. I've raced with Dawn Artman. Gets a little bit loose at times. The 96 on the outside, Chad Keane. Don't know what he can give up. Mark Jorgensen, a very, very good peddler. Mark Brown, don't know. Then Brandon Chaburko. There the pace car goes off. We have Frank Busilia holding them back. On the outside, we have Brandon Kettel holding pace with Frank. They're getting ready to start now. We're waiting for the green flag. They're getting pretty close together. Green flag flies, and away they go. The number 80 gets a good jump. He may be able to jump in front and we have immediately, a caution right there. And I do believe, Evan, Brandon Kittle got ahead of Frank Busilia before the, or just over the start, and he may well be our winner tonight.
Yeah, I think he's going to get it. That 81 car tried to make it 3 wide back in the pack, got cut off by the 73. They went spinning behind him, and immediately Brandon Kettel, and we have double-checked to confirm that, so he is a driver in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, so possibly being recruited over here by Brandon Chaburko. But as soon as that caution flew, the 80 was shaking that machine back and forth in celebration down the back straightaway. So as Sean was able to point out, it looks like Brandon Kettel is going to come in here to the iSuperSpeedway.com series and going to be able to walk away in victory lane in his first race here as we cross the stripe. Still 2 laps to go, but both of those are going to be completed under the caution flag. So I do believe that makes it 2 pro oval drivers here in this series.
And no I-5 bonus tonight, guys, as none of the eligible participants managed to win.
And we do have a car trailing Smoke from the rear there. He's still trying to go around, trying to finish this race. I have to find out who that is. So Brandon Kettel, a debut winner, which that is really fantastic. The 94 of Frank Busilia looks like he'll end up in 2nd place. The race, of course, is not finished yet, folks. In case some of you are wondering, we still are only on lap 46, so there will be another lap to go, but under caution. So the order that they are in now, and bear in mind, they need to go single file at this point. The order that they are in will in fact be the finishing order in the race. So Chad Keane in the 96 car picks up a 3rd place by the looks of it. Mark Jorgensen, not sure whether I have called him in some of the other races in this series. So he will be in 4th place. And Dan Harrington, another new name in the top 5 there. Great racing from these guys to get themselves to be there at the end. And this is exactly what super speedway racing can give up, Sean. Unexpected things happen.
Yeah, they do. And I certainly didn't expect that there at the end. That was really unfortunate. Would have been nice to get a green flag finish, but hey, we got a first-time winner. And, that I-5 bonus carries over another week, so there'll be a little more money at stake next week. And our new friend Brandon Kettel will be eligible for that I-5 bonus next week.
And I suspect we'll be seeing a bit more of Brandon Kettel. There's nothing that excites anybody as much as a win, and entices you to come back and try for more. Frank Busilia, good race from him from the beginning, always up or near the front there, Evan. Just couldn't pull it off tonight.
Yeah, and it's a tough night to swallow for some of these guys who, again, ran up front all race long, and in the end here, again, Brandon Chaburko, no front end on his good wrench service Chevrolet, and not a lot of sheet metal left on it either. There's a lot of guys here that are going to walk away with a couple of torn up race cars, to say the least, and a lot of guys, and I think a few of them actually maxed out their quick fixes here. So it was a rough race. It was a survival of the fittest, and I guess that unlucky or lucky number 13th starting position is going to pay due dividends and put that 80 of Cattell into victory lane.
I gotta tell you guys, the number 3 car, get a camera on that car there. He's got no front, he's got no back. He's trundling along on the apron there. A guy came up behind him and helped him by giving him a little push so that he could get to the finish line, because presumably, well, they're only on lap 46 still as far, no, let me see. Now they are on lap 47. So really,
Yeah,
the race is just about finished, I imagine.
Yeah, Brandon lost a lap there, and so he's on lap 46 and still trying to get around. But you know what, guys? None of the guys in the top 5 in points finished in the top 5 in this race. So I think we're going to see a little shakeup at the top of the points.
Might be. We had Rod Flag and Joshua Hanna on equal points up front. Frank Basilia was 6 points back, so Rod Flag and Josh Hanna will need to work that out. Josh Hanna finished here in 14th by the looks of things. And anyway, we'll talk about all of this stuff when we come back. Gives us an opportunity to do our sums, because right now the race is done. People are celebrating. Brandon Cattell trying to get that car. He can't do any donuts, or he can't do the car is not whole. It can't even get around. So we'll come back after a short break, and we'll give you all the finishing positions, and we'll also do some driver interviews. See you soon. Welcome back to Talladega, where the iSuperSpeedway.com features their super speedway races. And tonight at Talladega, we had another one of those frantic finishes, is what I'm calling them. And to take us through the complete standings as they finished, and bear in mind they finished under caution, we will start with Evan. Go ahead, Evan.
Hey, Evan seems to be away for just a second as we get ready for an interview here with Dana Osborne. Let's pull him up in for an interview.
Well, let us go through the standings first, Sean. So I'll kick us off. So Brandon Kettle, we understand that he races in the Peak Antifreeze Pro races in the NASCAR iRacing series. So that's great to hear, and he came away with the win. Frank Basilia lost out narrowly and came in second place. Chad Keane finds himself in third place with Mark Brown in fourth place. Mark Jorgensen, good race from all of these guys, in fifth place. Rod Flagg keeps his championship hopes very much alive with a good sixth place. Was in trouble at various times, but a sixth place finish, he'll take it, I'm sure. In seventh place, Dan Harrington. In eighth place, Dawn Artman. In ninth place, Brandon Chaburka, who certainly will slip back in the rankings after this race. And in 10th place, Sean Donny Garatano.
Yeah, and in 11th, Tommy Hall in number 4, and 12th, Dana Osborne, tough race. In 13th, Shane McEachin, another tough race there for the number 28. 14th, Josh Hanner. In 15th, TJ Smith. In 16th, Ron Thompson. In 17th, Jared Haggerty. In 18th, Brock Hopkins. In 19th, Ramon Evans, one of our I-5 bonus contenders there. Not a good night. 17 laps down. In 20th, Chris Jennings. In 21st, Rodney Wofford. And in 22nd, ending out the field, 22 laps down, Larry Camp.
Well, folks, we are now going to do some driver interviews. And first up, we are going to talk to Dana Osborne, who had certainly had his chances in this race, was right up front, led a few laps, certainly had a good opportunity to get up there, but it's all slipped away towards the end. Dana, tell us about your race, my friend.
Oh God, I don't know where to start at. I had such a good run going. You know, I've been after one of these A-main wins for 3 seasons now, and I just don't know what to say about TJ, man. I don't know why he came up and slammed me into me like that. You know, I'm real upset about it, but you know, I'll get him next time.
Well, Dana, you know, this is Super Speedway racing, and you need to depend on some help from somebody to get you up there. I was with you all the way, my friend. I said to the other commentators, I would like to see you come away with one here, but not to be tonight.
That's okay. I'll get him next week at Daytona. You know.
Well, that's a good attitude to have. Well, Dana, look, you came in at the end. Now, where did you finish? I am missing out. 12th place, which is not the greatest finish, but you know you've got the speed, you know you've got the talent to run with these guys. So we'll see you back next week, hey?
Thank you so much, guys. And I also want to thank Rod for putting this show on, and thank you all for doing what you all do.
Well, thank you, Dana, and we'll most certainly see you next week. Next up, we do have, I believe, Frank Basilia III coming in second. So a lot of numbers there around Frank. Go ahead, Sean.
Well, Frank, welcome to the booth. Congratulations. It wasn't a win, but it was a second place finish on the podium there. And without doing any hardcore math, I think that's going to throw you into first place in the points. How you feeling?
I don't know. It never hurts to be... to finish second. I mean, could tell he drove his butt off that race, so first got to congratulate him. But it was a really eventful race. It was, I don't know if there were server issues and some stuff going on. I wasn't sure, but it was definitely eventful. But I'll take the second.
Yeah, it looked like you were making it work with a little bit of damage on that car. When did you get that?
Dana had given me a huge push off of 4 down the front stretch, and something happened with him. A car came up and hit him and Josh Hanner, and Hanner turned into me. I mean, he got spun essentially, and I got slammed in the left rear and managed to save it and stay out in the lead. And at that point, there was no way I was pitting in the car. It felt fine. It took off okay. I just didn't get that push at the end on that last restart, but no shame in second.
Well, it is a long season, but getting up to first in points has got to feel good. Like I said, it's a long season, but do you like where you're at right now with this season getting started off?
Yeah, absolutely. Ran pretty well. Just hope to keep it going. I know this league ups and downs occur really quickly, so I'll take them as I can get them.
Well, you want to thank anybody tonight before we let you go?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, y'all for broadcasting. You put on a hell of a show. Rod Flag for putting on this league. It's fun coming out every Friday. My friends and family, 3D Racing, and we'll see y'all next week.
Frank, thanks a lot. Excellent run tonight, and we look forward to talking to you again here soon.
Well, and we said it, Frank Basilia certainly he was on -6 from the lead. So Rod Flagg and Joshua Hanna both finished down the order. So rough maths, as you say, Sean. He may well find himself up there. But right now we have our winner tonight, Brandon Kettel, and we just need to make sure we get that pronunciation of the last name correct. But we'll find that out when Evan talks to Brandon. Go ahead, Evan.
Yeah, that's right. We're down here in Victory Lane, and it's going to be the RobertCottellRoofing.com machine. That Chevrolet going to Victory Lane, the 80, going to finish in P1. And Brandon, first and foremost, congratulations on being able to steal that win. Walk us through approaching that final restart where you were able to pull about half a car length, and then the caution flag flew, securing you that #1 spot.
Well, I just got the push from Chad behind me there, and it just pushed me ahead of Frank. I thought Frank had it, but Chad gave me the push and pushed me right past him to get to the lead there before the caution came out.
Now entering tonight's race, again, race number 4 on a 12-race season here with the iSuperSpeedway.com gang. But this tonight, your first race, we understand that you qualified or were sent to take the grid in position number 13. Actually started from pit road and having a 100% success rate here in this series, exiting tonight's race. How was the night overall?
Pretty fun for the first race. You know, it's different from the DWC races. A lot better than the DWC races. No, it was just pretty fun. Go out there and just kind of do your own thing and hope someone's going to work with you. You don't have any real teammates, and got your buddies and stuff, but just out there and you do your own thing and you get to try to find the lead to your front, and then you just try to win.
And obviously, so again, I'll be able to walk away in Victory Lane tonight. Are you planning on running the rest of the season or a couple more races here with iSuperSpeedway?
Oh, yeah. This is totally fun. I can't wait to do the next race. Rod puts them together really, really good, and makes these races really fun. I like it how you can't push in the corners. Kind of keeps the pack a little bit bigger and makes the third lane work a little bit better. So, yeah, it was definitely fun. I'm going to be back for the next one. Maybe, I don't know, make it a championship run if that's even possible. Because I'm Ricky Bobby.
And for sure there, before we let you go, one more question. Obviously, moving forward to the next race, going to be at Daytona. Daytona, Talladega, both the plate tracks, but two different animals in and of themselves. Do you have a favorite Dega or Daytona?
Oh, Daytona's just nothing like Talladega. Daytona's my favorite track. It's my home track. It's where Dale won so many times, and you just try to be your best and be like Dale. So, free for Dale, and I love Daytona. It's the better track.
Copy that. Before we let you go, give you a chance to throw a couple more plugs out there for your NASCAR Peak Antifreeze buddies or your sponsors and whatnot. So, what kind of shout outs you want to throw out there?
Well, I'd like to thank my spotter, Lee Herron. He does a great job, even though he wasn't even on the spotter stand tonight. I'd like to thank Robert Cottell Roofing for sponsoring me. Thanks, Dad. I'd like to thank Brandon Chaburko for always being there when I don't have a buddy. I'd like to thank Frank and his smoking hot wife. And I'd like to thank Mark for working with me in practice there. And all them boys back at the shop who helps me win these races, And Rod for putting this show together. It's awesome.
Copy that, bud. Well, congratulations on the victory, and we'll look for that 80 car up front next week.
Thank y'all.
That is Brandon Cattell. He's going to start from 13th. He'll end up in Victory Lane, guys.
Yeah, and thank you, Evan. Well, guys, we come to the end of another broadcast and another race. Sean, you've been on all 4 races, if I'm not mistaken. Your impressions of this series so far?
Well, I think we'd like to finish one of these under green, and hopefully that's coming. The cream has definitely risen to the top. Tough luck for some of those guys this week, but still, we saw for the majority of this race everybody we've seen previously at the front of this field. So, I think the next race will be exciting. I think the addition of Brandon Cattell could be a nice mix, and I think as long as he can get some partners, we may start to see some cars run away from this field if they know how to work together just exactly right going around Daytona.
All right. Well, Brandon Cattell said it. He prefers Daytona to Talladega, so that's his home track. Evan, now you've been watching a few of these guys go around. You've seen a few other drivers go around over your time on calling speedway races. What are your impressions of this group?
Again, these guys, and it's fun to be able to see these guys, and I had a little bit of experience with them back what's going on just over a year ago now. But again, they still got the dominant cars, but it really wasn't as prevalent tonight. I mean, we normally talk about Brandon Shaburko. He's normally up front, and he was. The 3-car was in contention tonight, but we saw a lot of different drivers up front. It was good to see Hanner up there, Osborne up there, guys that have not gotten to victory lane, but have run up front. So that is a testament to the fact that it's not easy to walk away with these victories. It's good to see Cattell to come down here, so him and Shaburko making 2 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze drivers that are in the field with these guys that are going to be racing week in and week out. Again, we would have liked to see less cautions tonight, but Talladega can do that to people, give you that little bit more room, and makes these guys try to go a little bit harder. But all in all, again, another solid night. Good to see that 80 car in victory lane, and interesting to see how this championship format starts to shake out and those points start to shake out moving forward, because tonight we passed the 1/3 mark in the season.
Well, our director is just about to turn off the cameras if he hasn't done so already. So I guess we better close up this broadcast. I do want to make one quick mention. There will be an all-star race on August the 15th. We won't tell you about it that much tonight, but we will tell you about it all at the next race at Daytona next week. We'll tell you all about it. So let's go to the closing credits. Thank you to Rod Flagg and your team. Rod, you guys organize a great league and you put on some great races. Can you talk to the guys about the cautions, please? We would like to see less cautions, and we want to see a race that finishes on green. We would also like to thank the makers of the various software and hardware that we use to make the stream possible. That is iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, YouTube, Audio Technica, Behringer, and Ava Media as well. Thank you to the team today, Kevin, Sean, and Evan. Great working with you guys. A lot of fun. If you want to find out more about us, the Global Sim Racing Channel, you will find us at www.globalsimracingchannel.com. Have a look there. You'll find archived races and race highlights of just about everything we have done to date. We are also on Twitter at GSR Channel, and we're on Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel. Very big thanks to Dougie Beard, who creates the camera sets that bring you the great pictures that you saw on this particular stream. A very special thank you also to Eric Ekholm, who provides us with music. You can find his music not only here on our broadcasts, but also in TV commercials, movie trailers, even on iTunes and Spotify. If you do like the music, get on to Eric and tell him where you heard it. His handle is at Eric Ekholm. Well, a special thank you also to iSuperSpeedway.com once again. Round number 5 will be coming to you next week from Daytona, and we will have some fun there in the Florida sun. I still think, guys, that we may see a green flag finish, and it may well be next week. Still to come, July 27, Gathering of Tweakers at Sonoma. That is a road race. On July 27, we have the Week 13 SRF. That's the Spec Racer Ford Big Grid race. This will be at Suzuka. Have a look at that, guys. We have 60 cars normally entering that race, and to see them all go round a track like Suzuka is going to be fun. Don't miss that one. July 27 as well. That's this coming Sunday. Northwest Majors, 2.4 hours of Spa, and of course that will be at Spa-Francorchamps. Those will feature the GT3 cars. On July 30, we have the American Sim Racing Series. That will be at Pocono, and that's a truck series that we cover there. On August the 3rd, VSRA, the Virtual Sim Racing Association, starts their new season, and they are going to be featuring the Riley Daytona prototype at Homestead, a road course, the B road course. And finally, August the 9th, Continental Endurance Sports Car Series at Mosport. Looking forward to that one. It is a series that I race in myself. Until next time then, folks, race clean, race hard, and we will see you on track somewhere.